this year, the world is on pace for 1.5 degrees of warming and is headed to become the hottest year in human civilization. 2024 is on track to be the hottest year in history, with temperatures hitting shocking new highs, the World Met Organization has just warned. In fact, a report released on the opening day of the UN Climate Change Conference COP29 that reveals that from January to September, the global average temperature soared 1.54 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. This alarming spike, driven by a fierce El Niño and the relentless rise in greenhouse gas emissions, is now pushing our planet past dangerous tipping points, and the consequences are already unfolding. The clock is ticking on climate change, and the heat is only rising. Just listen in to what the World Met Organization's Secretary General had to say.
And this is another SOS to the planet. The State of Climate Update confirms that 2024 is on track to be the hottest year on record, hotter even than 2023, which smashed all previous records. 2015-2024 will be the warmest 10 years on record. The pace of climate change in the space of just one generation is alarming.
And joining us for further clarity, we have with us climate change expert Nagraj Adve. Thank you so much, sir, for making time for us on the World 24/7. A crucial aspect is the unprecedented temperature increase, right? I mean, the average global temperature for the first 9 months of 2024 exceeded the pre-industrial level by 1.5 degrees Celsius. Mr. Adve, take us through the stark findings of this latest report.
Well, this latest report is an update on the report that they had a few weeks ago, and it touches upon the core of climate science and its impacts. So, for instance, it covers the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere in 2023, which was 420 parts per million. And it also covers as you just mentioned, the average rate of warming in the last 9 months, which is about over 1.5 degrees. It talks very worryingly about, so you see a lot of the heat trapped by greenhouse gases goes into the oceans. And this report tells us that over the last 15 years, it has trapped the heat equal to 18 times the world's entire energy consumption. It's not just electricity consumption, it is all the energy consumption. That is to say, besides electricity, your cars, your industries, your ACs, everything all over the world, 18 times has gone in the oceans. It talks about the loss of glaciers, which is equal to the water of 5 times the volume of the Dead Sea. We are talking about massive kind of changes and impacts. And what's also worrying, I should point to two things, which maybe the report doesn't talk about, is the fact that last year in 2023, the land sinks, that is to say the forests, trees, grasslands, etc., which normally take in about 8 billion tons of carbon dioxide, hardly took in any at all. It was close to zero. So what that implies is that 8 billion stays in the atmosphere, causing much further warming. That's really worrying. And secondly, we've got these massive ecosystems and ocean currents that are slowing down, whose impacts are even beyond our imagination, and in particular, an Atlantic current for the AMOC. So this year has been just terribly worrying, and this report and this update released yesterday sort of captures the essence of what's going on.
It is rather alarming indeed. Mr. Adve, one cannot ignore, though, that a backdrop of war and upheaval also hangs over the talks that are happening in Azerbaijan as we speak. As things stand, would you say we are on the road to ruin?
Well, I wouldn't like to use the word ruin because it has a kind of doomsday aspect about it. We certainly are on a very grave road. Crossing 1.5 degrees is no joke because every 0.1 degrees of warming means accelerating impacts. It means that if we stay at 1.5 degrees of fire. So let me just point out that this temperature in the report also includes a slight factor of the El Niño, which is this Pacific Ocean current, which also contributes to warming, but only contributes to a degree. For example, the last time of the El Niño in 2016, which was even stronger than the current one we just got over, despite that, it was much less warm. So actually, it is global warming that's underlying factor. Now, next year, when the effects of the El Nino kind of wear off, what will happen is that the average rate of warming will come down, but it will come down only slightly.
Right.
After the last El Nino, global temperatures only fell by about 0.1 degrees Celsius. Now, we are going to unavoidably cross 1.5. Now, the problem is actually that for certain ecosystems, if you stay at 1.5 for a sustained period of time, it tips them over into completely new states, and that is just deeply worrying. It means that they will not recover, like the Arctic ice, and they will not recover into their current state for the foreseeable future. And when I say foreseeable future, I'm talking of thousands of years.
Right.
In addition, an average one, so far we've been talking about averages, but we have to keep in mind that an average temperature of 1.5 means a much higher temperature for regions like the Himalaya. So 1.5 globally means for much of the Himalayan regions, something like 2.5 degrees Celsius. So, and higher than 1.5 means an even higher impact in the Himalayan range, which is already seen, a loss of glaciers, drying of streams, etc., which impacts ordinary people, including women in different states.
I think we all agree that urgent action is needed. In fact, we've been talking about this year on year. COP29 climate summits have happened year on year. In fact, diplomats have greenlit key rules that govern the trade of carbon credits as well. But critics have warned that the rules were rushed through without following proper process. But thank you so much, Mr. Adve, for joining us with your insight on the World 24/7.